Okay, so we're going to do the uniform haircut. 3 points. There are 6 sections to this haircut. The hair is cut at 90 degrees, which means it's all cut from the exact same, it's all being pulled out straight from the head, from where it grows, and there's a traveling guide. So the hair is going to move around the head as we go. So the easiest way to section this, I find, is to go at the apex and take it straight down to the top of the ear, and you're going to create a radial section. From there, you're going to go from center eye to center eye, and then there's your 3 sections that you have in the front. And from the back, you're just going to continue taking that section right down the back. So you're just going to follow suit with that top section. And again, now you have 1, 2, 3 sections in the back, and that gives you your 6 sections. I did take it back just a touch further, so just behind the apex and then behind the ear, for those that want to do it that way. It is a little bit more foolproof, I guess, because of the shape of the head. Sometimes by starting that little bit behind, it is going to make a difference. So we're going to start in this section, so we're going to call this section 1. You're going to take your first piece of hair. You want to work in relatively small sections, about 1/2 inch. Now you have numbers on your comb. You can use them. So I want to take my mannequin to about 8 inches. Your comb goes up to about 7, so we're going to go about 1 inch past the comb, and we're going to cut. Now you can see that the hair that's between the tip of my finger and my knuckle is really tight, and the hair that's between my knuckle and the inside of my finger is very loose. So that being said, you don't want to cut beyond the knuckle, because otherwise you're going to have inconsistent tension. So make sure you comb it through a few times, get your tension, double check your length, and then we're going to cut. So in order to get this the same, if I hold this up right now, it would get longer if I had have cut it that way. We're going to just double check it at 8 inches. Okay, so now you know that you're going to be bang on. So this is a traveling guide, which means that my guide has to move. So I'm not bringing hair to the guide, I'm bringing my guide to the hair. If I bring the hair back to the guide, what's going to happen is my hair is going to get longer. I don't want that to happen. So if I take the hair back here, it's going to gradually get longer. I want to move my guide to that hair. Again, moving in about 1/2 inch sections is about what you're going to be cutting. So you use your coarse teeth to section, and then grab it with your fine teeth to get your tension. So it's coming straight up from where it grows. There's my guide, and I'm going to cut. There's my guide, and I'm going to cut. Okay, now my next section that I take, again, it's only going to be about 1/2 inch. Now I'm going to leave my first guide behind, and I'm taking my second guide with me. It's moving, it's on the move. Again, hair is coming straight up from where it grows at 90 degrees. Remember, the head is round, so you are going to notice that your arms are going to feel funny sometimes. That's okay. Just going to do a little double check, make sure you get all those little ones. Next section. Okay, so right in here is where the head is going to start to change shape. So it's going to actually start to dip down. So be very careful that you don't pull it back again too far. If you pull it back, you're going to get longer. On the other hand, don't pull it ahead too far and overextend, because you're going to end up going too short. So you want to make sure that you're right up from where it grows. If in doubt, use your comb, double check your length, and then cut. I'm not cutting beyond my knuckle because you can see that the tension isn't there. Always cut with consistent tension. My standing position hasn't changed. My elbows are nice and square. Again, I can feel that the head is really dipping down, and I can say, oh, am I off? What's going on? When in doubt, double check with your comb. Straight out. This should be our last section. Okay, so section 1 is done. The very first thing that you want to do as soon as you finish that section is you're going to cross check it. So I've cut horizontally across the top, so now I want to go to the side and I want to check it vertically. So when I hold this up, you're going to look and you're going to see some of this is going to look like, oh my gosh, I got shorter. No, you didn't, because the head changes shape there. So when I come up this way, that's perfect. If I hold this straight out this way, remember this is a uniform haircut, so it's straight out from the head. So when I hold it this way, straight out from the head, it's perfect. Okay, we finished section 1, we're moving into section 2. So what I've done is I've taken a piece of section 1. So that very first piece of hair that we cut, that is the guide. That's the piece that we started with. This is determining the length of our haircut right here. So I have to change where I stand because I'm not going to be cutting horizontally anymore, I'm cutting vertically. So we're going to go straight down the center of this section. And again, straight out from where it grows. The head here, it just changes the whole way down. So every piece of hair that you cut is going to be a little bit different. I would recommend that you don't cut any more than about, again, ½ inch or so of hair at a time. So there's my guide, and here's the hair that I'm cutting. I don't want to pull the hair up here to the guide. If I do, I'm going to end up with a longer piece through the crown. So you want to make sure it's being pulled out. The guide is coming to that piece of hair that I'm cutting. It's coming out straight. If you need to double check your length, you can do that. I'm going to grip it. Straight out from where it grows. Okay, so now I'm going to release this and I'm going to take this down with me. That's my guide is traveling. You can double check your length, make sure that your fingers are angled properly. Okay, when you get down into this section, now I'm going to change my standing position again because I need to palm the hair. So remember that palming, your palms are facing one another. So I'm going to come in and take the hair. There's my guide. Now again, the head shape is changing. I want to make sure that I'm right around 8 inches. I'm not cutting below my knuckle. So my fingers are going to have to start angling in a little bit because the head is angling in a little bit. So to make sure that the length remains the same, you're going to change your finger angle. Okay, so that piece is going to be our guide that's going to travel around the head for the remainder of the haircut. Now we finished this middle section. It's all been cut. What I am going to do again is we're going to cross check. So this time we cut vertically. So now we're going to check it horizontally. So we're going to come in. We're just going to hold it up. Looks good. And you're just looking for any little discrepancies that you may have had. If you made a big boo-boo and you're saying, oh my gosh, I'm way longer on one side than the other, you're going to go back in and you're going to have to go and fix that. Any little corners, little pieces or anything, this is good. You shouldn't be looking for a really blunt line coming across. Your blunt line happened vertically, so you're not going to get that really solid blunt line going horizontally, and sometimes that's a mistake that we can make is we go to check it and we're looking for this really blunt line. The blunt line happened in here. Okay, there's your blunt line. This is going to be softer. That's the purpose of cutting vertically, is to give you those softer lines. So now that we finished this middle section, we're going to go into this right back panel. And basically you're just going to continue doing what you were doing. So you're going to take your guide with you. Straight out from where it grows. But just be mindful that your guide is coming with you. It's not the hair going back to the guide, and I have to change my standing position to align with the section that I'm cutting. So basically the way that it works is when you're working on the right hand side, you're going to be cutting behind the section, so you should be looking at yourself in the mirror. When you go over to work on the left hand side, now your back is going to be to the mirror. But while we're working on the right, you should be facing the mirror. Okay, so again, we don't want to pull the hair back. We want to make sure that the guide is coming to the hair. And always make sure you can see your guide. If ever you can't see your guide, go back to where you know you had it last. So you say, okay, I know I had the guide in the center because I checked it and it was good. Go back to the center and move yourself across until you can find it again. So now we're going to move into this left hand side. So we're going to take the middle guide with us, so that piece from the center. We're going to take that with us and we are going to travel it this way. So again, my back, if I had a mirror here, it would be to the mirror. But again, the guide is coming to that hair. I am not pushing the hair away from me. I'm pulling the hair toward me. Over to the palming. Palming will be ergonomically correct, so it's going to help you not to put any additional strain on your body. So that section is done. So again, you're going to want to check it straight out from where it grows. So we're not looking to push it up or push it down. If we pulled it straight out, then that's how we have to check it. It's the same elevation. Looks good. Any little discrepancies, you can just grab them. Always point cut when you're cross-checking, never do a front line. And again, if it was anything major, you'd have to go back in and get it. But anything minor, you can just, you can point cut into that and get rid of it. That looks good. So the back is done, the top is done, and now we just have to connect the sides. So what I like to do is I divide the center section in half. So half of it becomes the guide for this side and the other half becomes the guide for this side. Okay, and again the guide is coming to the hair so that the hair is coming straight out from where it grows. I'm actually going to take a little bit of a smaller section. Let's see it better. Good. part here is a little bit tricky because the ear is there. Be very careful that you don't cut that guide on the top, because that will affect your length on the top. Okay, so that side is done. So I'm on the left-hand side now. So I'm no longer standing at the back. I'm moving so that my back is actually facing our invisible mirror. Section with your coarse, flip it over to your fine to get your tension. If you can't see your guide, it could just be that you don't have enough of the guide. There it is. But if you can't see, don't cut. If you need to take a little more, take a pause, it's okay. And palming at the bottom. One last check in the interior. It's always a good idea to check kind of where those transition points are in the head. So in through this back section, it's always a good idea just to double check, take it up on your vertical, hold it straight out, and just make sure that there's no corners there, that you didn't miss it. The other part would be in between your top section and your side section. You want to make sure that you didn't actually cut anything that you weren't supposed to. Again, make sure there's no corners there. That all looks really good. When you cut, or when you check a uniform haircut, you should be able to pull it in any direction and it should be even, because it's uniform, it's the same everywhere. So if I pull it out on a diagonal, I should get the same result as if I took it out on a vertical. It's all going to look the same. Now the lines might be a little bit softer coming in different directions, that's okay, so long as your lengths are the same everywhere. Okay, so now we're going to go into perimeter. Okay, so what I like to do is I will go from the apex forward. So again, I'm creating that radial section. And then I have from the apex back. The apex back, lift her up a little bit. So when you guys have a client in your chair, you can use the hydraulics. You want to try to work as eye level as possible. I like to tilt the head down so that we end up with 0-degree elevation. So again, now you're working with perimeter, so it's always 0 degrees. You don't want to have any elevation. If the client has a sweater on, a hoodie, anything like that, it needs to come off. It should come off before the haircut even starts. A towel, anything like that can give you elevation that you don't want. So the way that the haircut looks right now is it's kind of shorter to longer, and that's normal. That's the way the haircut is supposed to look, because your hairline is higher here and lower here. You didn't make a mistake. That's the way it's supposed to look. So what we want to do though is we want to somewhat connect it. So I try to look for in the sides, kind of where is it coming down here that I like that length, and where does it get kind of wispy on the ends. So I'm going to take about an inch off of that center part. I'm actually going to point cut. When you're point cutting, cut on the way out so that you don't cut your fingers. Okay, so scissors come in, but you're cutting on the way out. I'm standing directly behind my section. I am not moving. This is a blunt cut. Zero degrees. If I hold it up here, I'm going to create elevation that I don't want, and I'm going to end up with these wispy ends that I'm just not looking for that. So 0 degrees, straight across, there it is. Back is done. So now we're going to work on the front next. So we're going to step forward into the front. Again, a client in the chair, you would have the client face you. You don't want to stand in front of your client, you want to have the client face you. So same thing here, we're just going to gauge where we want that length to be in the front. So I'm just going to take off a little bit. Now what you want to do is you want to connect it into your sides. What some people end up doing is they come too far and they end up taking this piece and they blend it into the back. You don't want that. You want to take that front piece and you want to blend it in to that length on the side. So we've cut our center section. There's a little corner there to get into that side. I'm going to take that out, and again I'm going to pull everything forward. I'm not moving. I'm staying right where I am, and I'm pulling everything into that side section until it all connects. Okay, so same thing on this side. Take off this little corner, pulling everything straight. Until it connects to that side. So I haven't actually taken any length off of the sides, I've only connected these pieces into it. So the next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure that this side connects into the back. So you're just going to pull this straight down, and there's going to be one little corner right there, and you're just going to go in, you're going to take it out. That's it. You should never be taking off great amounts of hair through there. You'll end up with a mullet. You'll end up really, really short, and then it'll drop into really, really long. So the same thing on the other side. We're just going to pull that straight down. And there's really nothing much there. The other part that you may find that there's a little bit of a corner is between that the side section and the back right there. Sometimes there's a little bit of a corner. So we'll just soften that up, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So just that one little corner. That's it. So when you're doing perimeter on these haircuts, you shouldn't be looking to take off great amounts of hair. It should just be those little corners. And you've already taken off all of your length. You've taken off, which is 8 inches all over. So we don't need to take off any more length. We're just looking to balance it out and make it nice and neat. So at the end, your end result is going to look like this. There she is. Since you're going to be doing a lot of stuff at home in the next few weeks, with this haircut, what I want you to do is do it. Make sure that when you do it, you record yourself. You don't have to record the whole thing, but I would like you to record the top section. I'd like you to record this back middle section, and then I would just like you to record doing that front section. Those are 3 major spots where people tend to, if you're going to make a mistake, that's where you're going to make it, and that will affect the whole haircut. So if you can do the top section, that back center section, and your front section on video, and then you can upload that. And I'd also like to get a little caption of your of the final result. In your upload, if you can just include, again, you can record it, you can audio file it, you can do a little write-up or something. Anything that you struggled with, just let me know, because we're in a virtual world right now. We can always set up some time. I can walk you through it the next time that you do it, but hopefully this video is going to be helpful, and you can refer back to it if you need to. But if you need me at all, feel free to contact me and we will work through it together. All right, stay healthy.